Howdy folks, got the goats out to pasture again, and just want to do another quick sort of positive inspirational video, if you want to call it that. I don't know what to really call it, and it's kind of stupid, but we're going to be doing one of those. I just wanted to talk about acquiring basic skills, life skills that everyone needs to know, uh, how you can do that, even, oh shit. Oh shit. That's actually not that big of a deal. Alright, acquiring life skills that you need to know, just getting better, being a better person. Something that's important that you need to think about in your life is your own ability to do certain things that are very basic functions that people just need to be able to do. And I'm phrasing this really retardedly. Um, there are certain things that you just need to know how to do. All right, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what you are. You got to know how to do them. And if you're in a spot in life where you're not necessarily the happiest, or you're trying to figure out what you want in life or anything like that, it's very common, especially for young people in this day and age, for reasons I'll get into in a bit, to just kind of sit around and fucking laze around and do nothing, not acquire any skills, not do anything productive, they just kind of sit around and fucking waste time. Now, wasting time isn't always a bad thing. There's always this everything with moderation, but if you're spending a really large amount of time not honing yourself or your skills or anything like that, I think you're doing yourself a very grave disservice. So I just want to talk a little bit about things that you can do if you're, in a spot where, maybe you don't really have all that much and you don't really know what you want. But these are the things that you should know how to do, and you can practice pretty much any time in your life, as long as you're not living in a hole in the ground, which I assume most of you aren't if you're watching this video. So, first thing, there's two basic skills that I think are very important that every person should know or should be taught by their parents as they're growing up. But we're living in a really cool era right now where parents don't teach their kids fucking anything, so they just have to go out and figure all this shit out themselves, which is great because just helping around the house when you were younger would have taught it would have taught a kid everything they need to know about the basics of running a house, of running a family, things like that. So we're living in kind of weird times in that regard, but I think a big thing. This is something when we're talking about this. I think something that's important is people like to blame others or things or groups for their own shortcomings, and maybe they're right. Maybe it's the government's fault. Maybe it's society's fault. Maybe it's the fucking boomers. Maybe it's certain tribe of people in the Middle East. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I mean, you can think about it. I'm not saying don't think about it, but I am saying that fundamentally, you are who you are, and you are where you are, and it doesn't really matter how you got there or why you got there or anything like that. You got to work with what you got because you don't have anything else. So if you're the type of person, young people generally do this, if you're the type of person that tries to blame things on others, or tries to blame their life circumstances or the circumstances of people around them on others, like I said, be it the government or, secret societies or certain tribes of people in the Middle East or, the bankers or whatever, I'd recommend that you keep asking those questions. It's not a bad thing to do, but don't let yourself be a victim. The second that you start thinking that you're a victim, you're just going to stop fucking trying, and you're not going to improve, and you're just going to be a fucking pathetic retard complaining about boogeymen, even if the boogeymen are real, and that's something you got to be fucking careful of. Because if you're a pathetic idiot and you're complaining about boogeymen, no one's going to listen to you because you're a pathetic idiot complaining about boogeymen. Even if that boogeyman is going to fucking stab him in the back in the next 10 minutes, all right? So I'm just saying, you got to learn how to improve your own life and be a positive role model and example for others. And at that point, then you can start maybe saying, isn't it a little strange how, certain groups of people are influencing parts of culture that are, a little a little out of balance, then you can start putting that up and people might be willing to listen to you. But anyways, so whatever the reason is, whatever the reason is that you don't have any skills and you don't know how to cook and you feel useless, all that kind of shit. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. It doesn't matter if it doesn't matter. You need to change yourself, and you have the ability to do it at any time. You have to choose to do it. That's the thing. If you choose not to do it, whoever you're blaming wins. So, I mean, do you want them to win? If you're fine with that, then this video is not for you. But if you'd like to actually make a positive change in your life, I recommend you continue listening. All right, now let it blathered on for 6 minutes without saying anything. Let's talk about 2 basic skills that you can teach yourself at any point in your life as long as you're not living in a hole in the ground. And those 2 skills are cooking and basic home repairs and just knowing things about the home. Cooking is something that everyone needs to know how to do. Something that everyone needs to know how to do. You can save enormous amounts of money by cooking your own food from, base ingredients, shit like that. You can buy things in bulk, raw ingredients, potatoes, tomatoes, onions, fucking meats, things like that. You can buy that in bulk, freeze things, do all that, and you can be more effectively ready for times in your life where you maybe you don't have a lot of money or anything like that. So knowing how to cook is huge, and especially when you don't have a lot of money, you're not going to be eating very good food. So if you know how to cook and you know how to season things, your life is going to be a lot less shit if you know how to cook when you don't have a lot of money. Because even with basic ingredients and basic spices, you can make a basic dish taste good if you know what you're doing. So I recommend, and it doesn't matter how old you are. I'm not talking just to adults. I'm talking to kids too. I mean, if you're young, what's this fucker doing? If you're young, you should be doing this too. I don't care how young you are. I hope you're not watching my video if you're under 13. My videos, I swear a little bit, so I don't want young people looking at them. But if you're young, talk to your parents. Say, hey guys, do you mind if I try cooking something, or could you show me how to cook something? Or if you've got absentee parents, like a lot of people do now, just cook something. Like, just use basic ingredients. Don't use anything fucking expensive. Just, like, think of a dish. Make fucking spaghetti. Like, do something. Start simple. Start small. Make some spaghetti. Make, make some good grilled cheese. Get really good at making spaghetti or grilled cheese. Like, just figure out the spices you want to put in there. Maybe make a sauce. Maybe make a good, like, olive oil sauce. Or vegetable oil sauce if you don't have olive oil. Anything like that. Just fucking experiment with that. I mean, I know that if you're younger and you're living with your parents, you've got ingredients to cook things. There's no reason you can't cook like a small lunch or something for yourself. Because odds are, if you grew up like I did, no one's cooking your lunch for you. So you either just don't eat it or you do it yourself. So yeah, just try cooking a few things. I mean, like I said, spaghetti's easy. Maybe mashed potatoes are pretty easy. Mashed potatoes and gravy are really great. They're filling. They're easy. Grilled cheese is pretty easy. Cooking meats can be a little more challenging. There's a lot to learn, a lot to know. Getting good at operating a frying pan as far as keeping the temperature regulated, things like that, with oils and things like that. And experimenting with types of cooking, like maybe shallow frying or deep frying or baking or broiling or anything like that. I mean, there's so many different things you can do with one type of dish that there's really no excuse not to just go try a few things. I mean, odds are you've got the time. If you're one of these people that acts like they don't got time, you're bullshitting yourself. You've got fucking time. You're just fucking lazy. Get off your ass and go cook something. So I'd recommend you do that. And like I said, it's such an important skill to know. As you get older, no matter where you are in life, rich, poor, fucking in the city, in the country, anywhere. Anywhere, you got to know how to cook. Absolutely. It'll make your life 10 million times fucking better if you know how to cook. So just look up some basic recipes, simple things, get good at that. Then you can branch out and do a little more complex stuff. And eventually you'll figure out, how can I take these raw ingredients that I got? I don't have any money. I've got raw ingredients. I don't have any money. What can I make with this? And even when you don't got much, you can make it seem like you got a lot. That's very important. Second thing is home repair. Goat's coming up. Alright, we got a guest here. You better not get tangled up here, buddy. Home repair. Alright, so this is kind of a... You may not be able to do this if you're younger because your parents might not let you. And I recommend not doing without permission because it's kind of rude. But there are certain things you can do even if you're younger. And if you are older, I recommend that you just offer to fix shit for your parents because you're still living with them and you're older. Let's fucking go. Hey, go back around the other way, buddy. You're not choking me out here. Come on now. All right. But your parents will appreciate if you offer to fix some stuff. Even if you're not the best at it, they can still maybe just watch your parents fucking fix something. Who knows? Things break in houses. That happens pretty often, especially with toilets, especially with fucking electrical systems, things like that. So if something goes down, don't just fucking sit around and wait for your parents to fix it, or wait for the repairman to come and fix it, or call somebody. See what you can do yourself. If it's not an emergency situation, just fucking, look around. Maybe look under the sink, see how it's trapped, see the water lines coming up to it, check to see if something's dripping. Go down to the breaker box and follow the conduit line that goes out of the box over to the receptacles upstairs if you've got an unfinished basement. If you have a finished basement, you can't really do that. But, just do, like, simple things. Like, learn how your house is wired up from the basement. Learn how the plumbing is done from the hot water heater to see how it goes out. Things like that. If you got a sump pump, see how the sump pump's set up. Stuff like that. Just make casual observations about how your house is set up. If you're in an apartment, you still got plumbing, you still got electrical. You can't really go too deep unless you have access to, like, the basement for washing machines and stuff. But I really just recommend that you take in the things around you. You don't just act like all this shit's magic. Water comes out of the tap because of fucking the magic tap. It really helps and it pays to know these basic repairs. And there's no excuse not to just familiarize yourself with the basic concepts. Especially, like I said, if you're living with your parents or other people, and maybe you're not pulling your weight as much as you should. Just try to offer to help more. Offer to help cook meals. Offer to fucking do some stuff. If you're off on your own, fucking just don't sit around and be a lazy fuck. I mean, it's hard sometimes, especially when you're in a tough spot in life. I understand that, but. I mean, when I was in a tough spot, I didn't have a choice. I had to know how to cook because, I didn't have any fucking money. So if I didn't know how to cook, I didn't eat. So kind of forced the issue on that. So it's better to be prepared when you're in that situation than when you're in that situation and you don't know your fucking head from your ass when it comes to cooking. So, and home repairs, holy fuck. Oh my God. If you know the basics about how plumbing and electrical works in a house, or even just carpentry and things like that. Yeah, they're still good. Carpentry and things like that. Just the basics. I'm not saying like you have to be a fucking expert fucking journeyman plumber or electrician or fucking carpenter. I'm just saying that you should know the basics. Why not? You're going to run into it at some point anyways, so why not fucking know about it? So just do little things. Do small things. It doesn't need to be big. You don't need to fucking turn your entire life on a dime and fucking do all that shit. Small things. You'll build confidence. Confidence is fucking key for any area of life, be it employment, relationships, anything. And you'll be better as a lover, a father, and just like a son or anything like that. This is more directed at men, by the way. Women can do this too. I'm not saying they can't, but it's definitely important if you're a man that you think about doing these things. So the broader point that I'm trying to make here. See, there was a reason that I did all this, and I wanted to get to that point. The broader reason that I'm talking about this is that when you are growing up and getting better at things, and you learn how to be a productive person, and you have a positive energy, and even in bad situations where you may not have a lot of money or anything like that, you can still operate and act as like things are fine. That is a huge fucking bonus. I mean, you become 1,000,000 times more adept at situations where you know maybe things aren't ideal, but you can't freak out. You know, you gotta make do. You know, you either do or you die. Those are your options. So you want to be ready for that. And another thing too is that, like I alluded to this earlier, but we're living in a weird fucking time where parents really don't teach their kids how to do much. You know, I'm talking people in the suburbs and cities. You know, maybe if you're in the country, it's a bit different. I'd like to raise my kids a little bit differently than how I was raised. I'd like to teach them more, but we're living in a time where a lot of people don't really know how to do basic things. You know, people that are entering adulthood, they don't really they don't really understand how to function as an adult. So it's very important. If you want to have an enormous leg up on the competition, I very seriously recommend you just do little small basic things now. Build it up, get better. Then when you need to rely on those skills, you already know. It's not any surprises. There's always surprises, but not huge surprises. You're not trying to figure out an entire fucking subset of home repair or cooking or whatever the fuck on the fly. You know, it's a lot less crazy. I don't know if I can't tell if the screen's glaring, if this is all fucked up, but anyways, it also makes you much more attractive to the opposite sex if you know what you're doing. I mean, this shouldn't require explanation. Oh, they're wandering. This shouldn't require explanation, but women tend to derive a lot of their emotional stability from whoever is the majority influence in their life. And if you're a very positive person and you're competent, you know what you're doing, and you know, you function well on your own, then it's an indicator that you function well with, you know, in groups with kids, things like that. And you know, if you're the type of person that doesn't have much luck with you know, dating or anything like that, I seriously recommend that you look inward and ask yourself, you know, if I were outside of myself and I saw myself, this is a serious question. It sounds funny, but this is a serious question. If I was looking outside of myself and I looked at myself, would I date myself? And if the answer is even sort of no, think about why not, and think about what you need to do to change that. And I mean, not only will that be good for you because you'll be a competent person with confidence that you know, won't fucking do all this ironic bullshit where they, you know, self-deprecate all the time and talk about how they can't fucking you know, cook or read or whatever the fuck. Talking about how you can't cook to me is a lot like bragging about how you can't read. Like, that's fucking pathetic. Don't be that kind of guy. But just fucking just do a few like small things every day. Build that up. And then when you're fully grown and functional adult, you know what to do. And it won't be such a big shock, won't be such a big jump. It won't be such a big surprise, but you got to teach yourself this stuff. I mean, if you want to be a successful person, lover, father, or just individual, you got to teach yourself this stuff. It's not going to come out of nowhere. It's not going to just happen. You got to make time. You got to do it. So go out there and make the time and do it.